The Minnesota Timberwolves are coming off another win. They beat the OKC Thunder as the T-Wolves are now 13-4, still the number 1 seed in the Western Conference, and are an impressive 8-1 at home. Minnesota's Anthony Edwards posted a team-high 21 points with 3 three-pointers before leaving the game early due to a heavy fall on a dunk attempt. Rudy Gobert and Karl-Anthony Towns were a tough duo for Holmgren on the interior as the pair combined for 30 points and 26 rebounds. Naz Reid was huge for Minnesota as well, as he scored 15 points and hauled in 7 boards. Through the first month of the season, the Minnesota Timberwolves have been one of the NBA's biggest surprises. This was a team that many people were quick to write off. However, 17 games in, the T-Wolves look like they have completely changed and turned things around, and they look like a real threat in the Western Conference. What's going on, everyone? It's Luca here, back with another video. In this one, I wanted to talk about this Minnesota Timberwolves team and tell you why they are scary good. If y'all could do me a solid favor, please hit a like on the video. It helps it a ton. And please subscribe to the channel for more Timberwolves and NBA content just like this. The Timberwolves' elite defense has been the main reason why this team is in fact scary. Their play on that end of the floor has fans giving them some very high praise. I mean, check out this defensive possession against the Thunder. This was just unbelievable to see. Rudy Gobert had Chet Holmgren in hell. It's this type of defense that has really helped the T-Wolves form their identity for this season. Anchored by the 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert, the Timberwolves find themselves with the league's best defense. Their 101.6 defensive rating puts them first in the NBA, just edging out the Orlando Magic. Minnesota's work on defense has been a major catalyst for their success so far this season. And one could say that Gobert is a huge reason for this defensive turnaround. But Karl-Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards are also playing the best defense of their career. Whether it's on ball or even in help defensive situations, they have been excellent. And then you have Mike Conley, who has been anchoring the defense at the point guard position. And then Jaden McDaniels, before he was hurt, he looked like a key defensive stopper at times against some of the better wing players in the league. The T-Wolves have all of the pieces in place to continue to display their stellar defensive play out there. And I mean, this is a crazy stat too, guys. Alan Horton, who does Timberwolves radio, he shared this stat on X. 6. Number of times Minnesota has shot 50% or better while holding their opponent to 40% shooting in the same game. The rest of the NBA has combined to do it 10 times. 20 teams have yet to do it. Last season, Memphis and Cleveland led the NBA doing it 6 times in 82 games. Minnesota has done it 6 times in 16 games. Last offseason, the Timberwolves made a move that many considered redundant. They already had Karl-Anthony Towns, but yet they still decided to make a blockbuster trade for Rudy Gobert. Many questioned, and still actually question, if Towns and Gobert can truly coexist on the floor together. Minnesota didn't get much time to experiment this duo last season because Towns missed most of the season due to injury. However, so far this year, the duo are silencing the critics. Towns and Gobert are figuring it out with each other and are thriving. Gobert once again looks like a defensive player of the year candidate, while Towns is playing like an all-star player. Through 17 games, he's averaging 21.2 points and 9 rebounds while shooting at 40% from beyond the arc. And then, of course, when you talk about this Minnesota Timberwolves team, you can't forget to mention the growth of Anthony Edwards. It has been incredible to see. And remember, there was a concern that having 2 bigs around him would clog up the lane and limit the amount of damage he was able to do around the rim. However, so far, whenever the T-Wolves have had their jumbo-sized lineup, it has not hurt Anthony Edwards' game. Edwards has been playing like a true bona fide superstar. He's posting averages of 26.2 points, 5.9 rebounds, and 5 assists per game. Now, I know it's still early in the year, but the Minnesota Timberwolves have turned a lot of heads with their play. And if they continue to play like this, especially on defense, where they are truly locked in, they could very well be a legitimate contender in the Western Conference. This is a T-Wolves team that people forget. They were in the playoffs last season. They got out of the play-in the playoffs. They almost took 2 games from the defending champion Denver Nuggets. They got a lot of good talent, and this season, it is finally coming together for them. Now, the one thing that needs to go their way is health. The T-Wolves cannot afford to have injuries. Obviously, they missed guys last season, and I just want to mention that Anthony Edwards is not seriously hurt after the scary fall, which is great to see. This T-Wolves team, they're going to have to stay healthy, but if they do, guys, I mean, this is a team that has proven that they can be one of the best teams in the NBA. I mean, you look at their record, they've gotten off to a hot start. They got some very good wins this season. They're taking care of business at home, which is what you want to see, and they just look to be absolutely locked in, especially defensively, which has just opened things up for the rest of this team. And I mean, you look at the Timberwolves' upcoming schedule, like very winnable games, an excellent opportunity for this team to continue to rack up these wins and separate themselves in the Western Conference. So they got the Jazz, funny enough, Rudy Gobert's old team. Then they got the Hornets, and the Timberwolves' newly scheduled games for next week, since they're out of the in-season tournament, have just been announced. They got the San Antonio Spurs on December 6th, Memphis Grizzlies on December 8th. The Spurs are 3-14. The Grizzlies are 3-13, and then the T-Wolves have the Pelicans on December 11th. So these next 5 games for the Timberwolves, very, very winnable, and this is key and a big break for the Wolves, who are dealing with some key injuries. So I mean, this was a great blessing in disguise for the Timberwolves. Obviously, they're not in the in-season tournament quarterfinals, but they're going to have a lot of easy winnable games. So this team just got to remain focused and continue to just go out there and take care of business. I know it's very, very early, but you look at the Western Conference standings, and the Timberwolves are number 1, and they do have a 1.5 game lead over the Denver Nuggets. So the T-Wolves, they're 9-2 in the conference. They're 8-2 in their last 10, 8-1 at home. Like I said, 5-3 on the road. This has been a fun team to watch, and this has been a scary team. Timberwolves fans, this has been a long time coming. I was high on the Timberwolves coming into the season. I know I took a lot of flack for my T-Wolves takes, people saying that the T-Wolves were going to be mediocre again, but I did think this team had a chance of being very good, and here they are showing us just how good they can be. So Timberwolves fans, let me know your thoughts. Hit a like on the video, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, and keep it locked and loaded on this channel for more Timberwolves content just like this. That is it for me. This is Lucas signing off. As always, thank you so much for watching. I will catch you all again in the next video.